points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Manouk, with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets ending their 3-game homestand on a winning note, defeating the UC Saros-led Nashville Predators by a 2-1 margin in overtime, an entertaining contest that the Winnipeg Jets controlled for the vast majority of the game and came oh so close, oh so many times to winning it in regulation, but it took overtime and a goal off the stick of Kyle Connor to send the hometown team home happy. Gentlemen, good to see you both on this Thursday night. An entertaining contest between two Central Division rivals, two straight entertaining games, I would say, in downtown Winnipeg after Tuesday's high-scoring affair between the Jets and the Golden Knights. Many fewer goals tonight, but still as entertaining as it was on Tuesday night, from my humble opinion. Good to see you both.
What's up, boys? Yeah, and sometimes those 1-1 games are low event games, right, boys? Tonight's game was not a low event game, and I thought it was fitting that Kyle Connor got the overtime winner, considering that UC Saros just absolutely was robbing him all night long, right? And you're right, Drew. We've been treated to a couple of really good games in a row, and you really like what you see out of the Jets. The second period was the most one-sided of the periods, but I agree with you. I mean, this was largely controlled by the Jets. And if you needed a reminder, as you mentioned, that UC Saros was a Vezina finalist last year. I think some people forget that. Obviously, Shesterkin won the Vezina trophy, right? But I mean, Saros, few things about Saros. I love that he's a smaller goalie. So that's like a throwback to the Mike Vernon, Darren Pang years, right, boys? Or if you want to throw in a Tim Shovelday. And I love the fact that he plays the puck a lot too. That's not something that we definitely don't see that with a guy like Connor Hellebuyck. David Riddick likes to play the puck a little bit more. So you're absolutely right. That was the story. Also have to give a huge shout out to Winnipeg's Cody Glass, right? We know about his, troubles, injury troubles, and, didn't work out for him in Vegas. But what a save by Connor Hellebuyck on the between the legs backhand to forehand move, right? So Hellebuyck was excellent. But yeah, Saros made an incredible save on Josh Morrissey. Initially, boys, I just thought Morrissey hit the crossbar, but Saros actually got his glove on it. So Saros was incredible. But yeah, the Jets could have easily had, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in this game. So you love that huge bounce back after the couple losses. And they needed this win. Obviously, Nashville needs it more, Dave, because they're, chasing a wild card right now. They're out of a playoff spot, but the Jets needed this one. They did not want to go on the road having lost 3 in a row.
You're absolutely right, Ezzy. Yeah, that's sort of that you never want to lose 3 in a row without at least earning 1 point. That's sort of the benchmark of often good teams. The good playoff quality teams, they don't go 3 in a row without at least earning 1 point, and the Jets were certainly at risk of that entering tonight's game, having lost on Sunday to the Washington Capitals, and then Tuesday the game to Vegas. There it certainly looked like they were in a position to at least earn 1 point until the 2 late goals by the Golden Knights. And then tonight, Dave, when you're in a tie game, or and another goalie is playing as well as UC Saros does, and Nashville's got some game breakers. They have some high end talent, and we've seen it on so many times where the Jets give up a late goal. Not so much this year, maybe that ends up costing them the game, but in years past, when it's a tie game and the goalie is goalieing you, because that's what UC Saros was doing to the Jets. I mean, that was very much probably how the opposition feels against playing against the Winnipeg many times, and it could come down to one bad bounce, one bad shot, whatever it might be. But the Jets certainly do get their just rewards in getting the 2 points in overtime. Sure, you don't like that it goes all the way to overtime, but que sera, sera. In that case, you get the 2, your division rival gets the 1, and you're happy with most everything that happened in the course of tonight's game, except for the injury of obviously to Nate Schmidt, which we'll touch on a little bit later.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, how many times have we talked about Connor Hellebuyck doing that to another team that is dominating the Jets, and Connor Hellebuyck is otherworldly. So occasionally you have to deal with the fact that another goaltender can be otherworldly. And I thought Saros was not all the shots were grade A's, but the Jets controlled the play. The Jets cycled so well tonight. I mean, they really were exceptional. And even on some of the power plays, it would only result, I mean, again, they have to have a more of a shooter mentality. There were a couple of instances in this game, especially early, where like guys would try and get a little too cute, make one extra pass, thinking specifically of that Cole Perfetti chance. I think it was in the first period. But the fact of the matter is the Jets had the puck. They maintained possession, and the cycle worked so well. You would see a guy come off, another guy replace him. They didn't even lose any momentum, and they were able to maintain. And again, they didn't necessarily turn them all into high danger chances, but I really liked that sort of effort from a Jets team that needed a bounce back game. And so, look, you controlled this game. It was a 1-1 game, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, this was easily a 4-1 game if Saros doesn't play the way he played. So you credit the other netminder because, UC Saros has won a few games, right, for Ezzy for Nashville in his time. And at the same time, you credit the Jets because the Jets were excellent tonight. They really did. They didn't make very many mistakes. And when they did, Connor Hellebuck was up to the task, but I thought it was a good collective effort. And again, you lose Nate Schmidt in the first period, bad, tough hit in that instance. And suddenly you're down to 5 defensemen. And it looked like you could be down to 4 because, Brendan Dillon blocks that shot in the third period on the power play, on the penalty kill. Sorry. Blake Wheeler takes one in the nads. So you lose him. You're not sure if he's coming back in the third period.
I prefer Nard over Nad.
I like how other people were sort of using euphemisms for it. When they were tweeting about where it hit him, Dave goes straight to the slang term.
He got hit in a tough area, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. What are we?
Yeah. We're all adults here. Like, just call it what it is. Testicles.
Yeah. We don't need to be all sensitivo here. So like,
he got hit in the area that Ezzy's getting surgically taken care of in a couple weeks' time.
Look, as Spencer Sutton just said, go Nads go. So anywho, the point is that it could have been bad, but he came back for the third period. Little Undertaker gif for him based on his return. Because I didn't know, we weren't sure, right? The replay showed you couldn't tell. A lot of people were tweeting at us saying it was the arm, and we thought it was actually the nether region, but it did end up being, we're not sure, but he came back for the third period. So it could have been an injury-filled game, and it kind of felt as a little throwback-ish, huh? Like a little bit like Jets and Preds and, from the 2017-18 season, at least to my eye.
Absolutely. And, you could point to the defense, and there were a couple names, boys. Like I had to, look up some career stats when I was looking at, Gross and some of these guys. Like he was playing on the top pair, Jordan Gross, I should say, Kevin Gravel and Roland McCowan. Like these guys are 8th, 9th, 10th defensemen, right? Like they've got Ryan McDonough out of the lineup, but also Jeremy Lozon and Alex Carrier in the last week have gone out of the lineup, right? But I mean, you've still got Roman Josi, you've still got Matthias Ekholm, Dante Fabro, you've got one of the best goalies in the world. You've still got, Johansson and Philip Forsberg. We'll get into that in the Betway game recap, but the Jets outplayed them, right? And the Jets were down to 5 defensemen. So yes, the Predators did have some depth defensemen in their starting lineup, but the Jets were also down to 5 defensemen, and they really didn't miss a beat. Like this is what you were seeing when, the Jets were going on their point streak, right? Like the first period looked like the second period looked like the third period. There wasn't like one really bad period, one really good period, right? It was a very consistent game from the Jets, and I agree with you, Dave. They took it to them. Kyle Connor was phenomenal. Shifley, Wheeler, and Perfetti were really good. Like Wheeler took that tumble in the third period, but he had a really good scoring chance. It was unfortunate for him, but really liked his game. I'm sure we're going to talk about Lowry, Barron, Harkins. We talked about the cycle game. Like Lowry was a beast on that goal. Like just a great drive into the Predator zone, gets the puck to Connor, right, and just he slips it through Sorrow. So overall, the fourth line wasn't as big of a factor as it has been in previous games, but I think that's because the game. When was the last time, guys, we saw a tie game for 2 full periods? Yeah. Right? Like to me, like tonight was almost as good as a hockey game can get. I mean, you'd like to see maybe, Nashville not get dominated as much, but for Jets fans, I think they absolutely loved the Jets' effort, and they obviously loved the result.
Yeah, this was everything that the Jets did in this game. I think Rick Bowness is probably going to look at on video and say, this is how we want it to be able to control the pace of play in that fashion. I mean, the Jets, this year they've been getting results, but they haven't been a dominant possession team. They've been in the middle of the pack possession team. I think they entering the game at 5-on-5, they were 16th or 17th, and the difference between 12th and 13th and 16th and 17th is minuscule. It's tenths of percentage points, so it's not a lot by any stretch of the imagination. But this was a game where the Jets had a huge degree of possession, and if possession is a key determinant in future success, and I mean I tend to believe that it is usually, if for the most part over a lengthier period of time it's going to be a success, then the Jets have to be happy with how they played tonight. It was more of the game I think that Rick Bowness wants to see than we saw on Tuesday against Vegas, where the Jets had difficulty with the stretch pass that Vegas implemented so often, and certainly against Sunday against Washington, where you can say that one was just chalk that one up to a bad game. This is one that I think Rick Bowness is going to bottle and show and say, hey, look, this is how we want to play. When we play like this, we're going to be a difficult team to play against, because the Jets combined their physicality, they combined their speed, they combined, there was many different sort of nifty plays to get out of their own zone, number of real tight passes or real close quarter passes in tight that led to some clean breakouts that were really impressive throughout the course of the game, especially when you're down to 5 defensemen. So there's a lot to like from the Winnipeg Jets game tonight. I thought, before we get into the Betway game recap, we say good evening, of course, to everyone. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show talking about the Jets and the Predators. The Jets 2-1 victors in overtime over their division rival. Let me ask you guys this about the hit on Nate Schmidt. It was Tanner Jeannot. And remember Tanner Jeannot from, I think it was last year? He had a
tough as nails, Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah,
he's tough.
Big, tough. Didn't he? I think he had a game in Nashville against the Jets last year where he had a couple goals or maybe even a hat trick. I remember him making an impact game, I think early on in the year last year when the Jets played in Nashville. What did you think of the hit? Because at first, at full speed, I thought it was fine. And then upon, the frame-by-frame Zapruder style examination of it, I thought, there was some talk that it might have been a little bit high, a little bit late, and maybe warranted.
It was high, Drew, for sure.
It was definitely high. He definitely caught Nate Schmidt in the head. But did you think that it's and obviously the officials missed that, but do you think there's anything more to come from that one, or do you think it's a play on, for future games?
I think, Dave, you probably agree. There probably should have been a penalty, right? And it's one of those, I agree with Drew. Like, you originally thought it was a clean hit. I'm with you on that one.
I originally thought I thought he was low. I thought Schmidt may have been a little low, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And that's the thing too. Like, Drew's making the film reference. Like, I mean, that kind of, once you watch it, twice or 3 times, then it's pretty clear. But I definitely don't think that we're looking at like a multi-game suspension or anything like that. But it was definitely a hit to the head. Yeah,
it was a hit to head, and I think it's probably a missed call. Sorry, Dave, you were there.
Maybe there's
you
a
guys were
fine,
debating
Drew.
it
Like,
on press
it's
row.
so tough to say. Sorry, Drew. I was just going to say, like, we've been doing this show for almost 14 years. I feel like you could flip a coin whether or not there's going to be any supplemental discipline. But I would probably imagine it would be a fine, not a suspension. But I honestly wouldn't expect even a fine.
It's hard. I mean, even with the fact that it happened right below where we are and watching it on replay, and you're watching Schmidt and you're thinking, it's hard because, like, if you think about it, the Nashville forward is on Schmidt anyways, right? So you've already got someone on Schmidt and he's kind of being guided in. So it's really, he's already kind of taken care of. So the hit is somewhat extraneous because there's really a man on Schmidt at that point. I mean, and I can understand why you'd want to come in there and separate him, but the puck's not really there anymore. So to me, I thought it was a bit of a late hit. I don't, it's always tough because, Schmidt really can't see him because of the way he's kind of being guided in, and then boom, hits him. So tough. And I understand how fast hockey is. And I know that, like, we could talk about all sorts of things and the principal point of contact, whether it was the shoulder, whether it was the head. But like I said, you never know. And as he's right, I mean, it is a toss up with the league as to what they're going to do. You never really have any sort of, we can watch something. The three of us can watch something. We can either agree, we can have a difference of opinion, but we could have an expectation. It's going to result in this, and the league sees it completely different, which is, not surprising. So
I agree with you, by the way, Dave. I mean, to me, it's probably more so that it's a late hit.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I mean, there's a good second Like there, the old
Yeah.
like steamboats, like when we used to
Yeah.
play, football back in the day, back on
Yeah.
the playground, and used to,
Yeah.
one steamboat, two steamboat. There could have been a couple steamboats there. Like that was a late hit.
Well, and that's my feeling, was that the puck was already gone from the area. So, I mean, at that point,
Drew, were
first
you
of
going to
all,
make a Ricky the Dragon steamboat reference there? Because that would have been perfect.
No, I was going to say back when we used to be able to count to 5 steamboats without getting winded. Now, if we had to play 7 steamboats worth of football, we'd be on the ground gasping for air.
anyways, so I think it is one of those situations where it's like it was a little tough, but I mean, I think that the puck was gone, and I think that and at that point, Schmidt is neutralized, right? So there's no reason for. I understand why you lay the body down, but anyways, I mean, I understand. Again, like I said, if Schmidt's alone, you want to finish your check, I don't have a problem with it. But Schmidt's essentially neutralized with the Nashville player on him, so at that point, there's no real necessity for it. But anyways, it is what it is. And I was just going to say, Drew, before we get into the recap, the testament to me is the fact that the Jets were able to arrest their losing streak. And it's one thing that, this team, we didn't see that last year, where they couldn't do that. And they would, the losing streak would drift into the 3 games, 4 games, and whatever it was. Whereas now, I mean, this team hasn't lost more than twice. Well, I think it's twice now. They've lost 2 in a row, and that's it. And they've been able to stop it and stop the bleeding. And, from my perspective, if you want to talk about Winnipeg being a good team, first of all, they were way better than Nashville. Again, like I said, Saros was equalizer, but overall, there's no question in my mind that the Jets were the better of the 2 teams tonight. You can't even, I don't think, question that. And so I just think it was an interesting contest, but I think it's a sign that the Jets are a good hockey team because they were able to do what they needed to do, right? They were frustrated with the way they went against Capitals. They're frustrated the way the game ended against Vegas. And for them to end up having to stop the bleeding and be able to start, a win streak now if they can, but at least to end that and get some 2 points, end the homestand, and then head to Vancouver tomorrow feeling good about themselves as opposed to kind of feeling bad, if they would have lost this game, because this would have been a game that would have been a horrible game to lose based on how well they played. Even if you got goalied and you could be like, oh, well, a little, point to that and be like, well, we got goalied. It would have been a horrible game based on the domination by the Winnipeg Jets.
They would not have been happy with 1 point. And you mentioned, Dave, I know I can see, Drew, that you want to get into the Betway game recap. I'll try to make this as I'll try to make this as quick. I'm enjoying
your banter.
All right, I love it. We love to banter. But you said stop the bleeding there. I mean, to me, a key part of the game was when Jansen Harkins high-sticked Philip Forsberg. It was the 4-minute penalty, right? I thought Nashville's power play looked pretty awful, to be honest with you. And there's some skill out there. And obviously Forsberg, he missed a little bit of it because he was being tended to. He was looking a little bit like Jake LaMotta, if you like your Scorsese films, for a film reference there. But he was pretty cut up there. But that was a huge penalty kill. And the penalty kill was great. Like Lowry, Barron. I mean, we know those guys have been doing it for the majority of the season. So I thought that was a key part in the game. The penalty kill was great because the special teams were not good against Vegas. So that was a key part of the game. Just wanted to get that in there, that I thought the penalty kill units really stepped up when Harkins took that double minor.
And by the way, it was very funny that unfortunate for Forsberg, but he's the one who takes the penalty on Lowry with 21 seconds to go in the double minor. So that was his first shift after getting stitched up, after taking the high stick. He ends up in the penalty box to add a little insult to his injury, if you will. And so, like I said, it was a good PK by the Jets, but the power play had a lot of good movement for Winnipeg. They just weren't able to really get any good quality shots on net. And Drew, I don't know if you want to give the update on Nate Schmidt, but you can to start things off.
I haven't seen it yet, so why don't you?
Want me to give the update, Drew?
Yeah, why don't you give the update?
That's called scooping Lindell right there, dude.
Yeah, I thought for sure Drew was going to be ready to go, but anyways, Rick Bowness, courtesy of our friend Kenny Weeb of Sportsnet, said Nate Schmidt went into concussion protocol after the hit from Lowry-Jeannot. He doesn't have an update on the severity of the injury or if he will be available for the 2-game road trip. So there you go, Nate Schmidt in concussion protocol. Not a huge surprise.
Not a huge surprise.
Is it Villy time? We're going to be talking about if it's Villy
Villy's
time.
been Villy's been sick. He's missed the last 4 Moose games with illness, so it might be Declan time.
Bianco. Kyle Capobianco also missed the morning skate today with an
Yeah.
illness. So you wonder, if it's a short 24-hour sort of bug, and Capobianco could be an option for Saturday in Vancouver. And this is assuming Nate Schmidt, is out of the lineup, and if he's in
we don't know.
concussion protocol, we don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how the Jets handle that. Another injury to a team that's been going.
Well, you've got a back-to-back on the road, right, Drew? So like you have to, you're gonna have. It's gonna be. I don't think it's going to be an early night tonight for the Jets management and everything like that. I think there's going to be there's a lot of moving parts going into that road trip on the West Coast.
Well, one of those guys who are with the Moose are still in Calgary, and Dave will touch on that a little bit later on in the show. One of those guys who are in Calgary might not come east to Winnipeg. They might go west to meet the team in Vancouver tomorrow. Depending on the injury status, that certainly could be the case. What I was going to say before we get into the Betway game recap is that Jansen Harkins did a good job when he took the high sticking, the 4-minute high stick. He did a good job in cutting Forsberg just enough and just deep enough that it wasn't easily healed, that it took him some time to get the blood to stop flowing, so he couldn't join the power play right off the hop, and in fact took him a few minutes to get some power play ice time there. And as a result, the Jets PK did a good job, and the PP for Nashville looked a little discombobulated there. So if
what
you're
do
going
they put on there, by the way? Do they just put Vaseline? Is that what that is? Or is it something special? Like some special ointment?
I'm sure that if you ask a cut man in boxing, because that's what they're trying, basically trying to do, they're trying to get it to stop bleeding so quickly. I don't quite know. I bruise very easily. I don't want to get hit very often. I bleed and I bruise, but I assume the cut man will have some sort of concoction that's probably partially Vaseline.
Who's the cut man for IC? I think Dave's the cut man.
Well, I don't know.
Like meaning he can cut your mic whenever he wants.
That could be, exactly. Well done, Dave. Let's get into the Betway game recap. Before we do that, of course, we say to everybody who's watching live on the YouTube channel and maybe Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching live on, be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to tell your friends and family that the place they need to be right now, and again on Saturday morning, and again on Saturday night, and again on Sunday night, is here on our YouTube channel. Do that right now, everyone, while I'm reading the Betway game recap intro. It's brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world, and of course the title sponsor here of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront, with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Nashville opens the scoring at the 9:04 mark of the first period. Philip Forsberg, we just mentioned him, victim of the double minor, the high stick. He gets his 9th of the year assist to Granlund and Matt Duchene. I didn't love this goal. I don't think Connor Hellebuyck probably will love this goal either. But from the Jets' perspective, at least it's the only one he gives up. So if you're going to give up one bad goal a game, but it's only the only goal you're going to give up, you'd probably take that trade off. Most teams would say, okay, you're only going to give up one goal, but it's going to be bad every game. Fine, we'll live with that. But I didn't love this one. It's the clean zone entry, but it's a shot from the outside of the face-off dot, and usually from that angle, that far away, Connor Hellebuyck's going to make that save, Eze.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. First off, let's go back. It starts with a turnover. Josh Morrissey's being pressured by Granlund, I believe it was, and I believe the turnover was Yossi, I think was the defenseman there. I have to go back and look at that, but you're right. I mean, Duchene, he comes over the line, lots of speed, and it was Demello that was the defenseman there, and it was Dubois that was back as well. So, I mean, you don't love it. I mean, the Jets were a little bit out of position with Dubois there, so maybe he didn't play that the best, but you have a forward back. And then, you have it's a shot where he puts it exactly where he needs to put it, with Hellebuyck moving to the right and him being to the right of Hellebuyck, right? So is that it's for sure a savable shot, Drew, but I mean, Forsberg's a sniper, so you got to give him a little bit credit. So that was just a quick transition goal from the Preds, but just unfortunate, right? Like, Morrissey makes mistakes too, guys. Like, Morrissey almost won it in overtime, and he's been arguably the Jets MVP. I mean, him and Hellebuyck will have to duke it out for who's the MVP so far of the season. I think Hellebuyck might have a slight advantage, but you're right. I mean, considering that there were some weak goals last game against Vegas, I mean, you don't love that one, but as you mentioned, he was perfect after that.
Dave, from your perspective, you were there in the arena tonight. What did you think about that goal? Did you think that it was? Am I being too harsh? If I am, if people,
Yeah,
tell me
ease
if
up
I'm
a
being.
little bit, Drew. I mean, the Jets won. Come on.
It has nothing to do with the Jets winning or losing it. It's my analysis of the goal. I thought that this is one that Connor
Yeah.
Hellebuyck more often than not saves. How about that?
Well, I mean,
I
okay,
agree
so
with that.
so I would suggest that the Preds got a little lucky with the way the puck went, onto everybody's stick and ended up from Granlund onto to Forsberg. And Forsberg, it was a bit of a knuckler. Like it's amazing how many, and this is the beauty of witnesses. It's amazing how many people saw that we were seeing the press box, and they're like, one guy's like, it went 5-hole, one guy's went low blocker. Like everybody's kind of not sure exactly how it went in. To me, from my perspective, it did look like it caught, it was a bit of a knuckler and it caught Connor Hellebuyck. But I mean, yeah, he probably should have had it based on the fact that it was shot fairly far out. But I mean, Forsberg does have a pretty good shot and he knows how to score a goal or two, right, Ezzy? So you got to give him credit as well. I mean, he's a pretty good goal scorer. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to look at that, if you have to evaluate that goal, I'd say that was on the weaker side of goals. But and it's tough from a Jets perspective because, I mean, let's be realistic. What time was that goal scored? What was the exact time? 9:04. So the first 8 minutes of the game, nothing happened. The Jets had a 2-0 shot edge. The Jets had possession of the puck, but there was not a whistle. I mean, it was unbelievable. There wasn't a whistle for the first 8 minutes. And, I think, like I said, the Jets had a 2-0 shot edge. And then suddenly, first shot of the game for Nashville, and they score a goal and they take a 1-0 lead. And so it's, again, the interesting thing for me was not that the Jets gave up the first goal, because I mean, we know the Jets can score, but how they would react given everything that had gone on in the last couple of games. How would they react to it, especially with the fact that they had possessed the puck already for the first 8 minutes of that hockey game? And I thought they reacted well, and they didn't allow it to deflate them, and they just kind of blew it off a little bit and continued to do what they had done, which was possess the puck and really drive into the Nashville zone with a lot of authority.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. The Jets game didn't change at all. In fact, it probably even got stronger after they gave up the first goal, which I believe came on the first shot that Nashville had in tonight's game, if I'm not mistaken. Dave, I'm not in agreement.
True. I literally just said that. I literally just said.
But I know.
Well,
but I just want to reiterate things.
You didn't sound like you were reiterating. You made it sound like it was the first time it had been said, which made me think you weren't listening to me.
904, by the way, is the area code in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
Because the goal was scored at 9:04.
No, I understood it. Just a little bit confused as to why you researched that right now.
Well, I wasn't paying attention either because I needed to know what area code 904 was.
I had a feeling Ginsburg wasn't listening. Well, at least the chat was listening. They heard me say that.
There you go. I mean, that's we're getting right into the swing of things. Is clearly what's happening here already on this Thursday night.
It's a beautiful mind that I have, Drew. It's not a brilliant mind, but it's a beautiful mind.
It is beautiful, I must say. That it's definitely a mind that's worth studying. Perhaps military scientists want to look into that mind a little bit, but whatever it might be, yes, it is certainly an interesting mind at that. Jets tie it up. And it's not from the most expected player to score for the Winnipeg Jets. It takes them 6 minutes and 20 seconds to tie it up. Dylan Demello in a 4-on-4 situation with Roman Josi and Pierre-Luc Dubois in the box. Both of those guys getting into a roughing contest after a whistle in front of UC Saros. Both those guys not afraid to make acquaintances with one another, and so much so that they both end up in the penalty box, which is probably a reasonable trade-off for both teams. Although Dubois, Josi, I mean, it's even trade-off. They're both talented and key members of their respective teams. It's Dylan Demello, his first goal in forever, assist to Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. And it's not, you think Dylan Demello, stay-at-home defenseman, and it's a 4-on-4 situation, so obviously things will change a little bit in terms of responsibility. But Dylan Demello winning a goal-mouth scramble to tie the game is not what I had on my bingo card today. I had a lot of other things. Most of them were food and drink related, but that was not on my bingo card. But have
you ever actually played a game of bingo, guys? Either of you? I haven't, and I've always wanted to. I hear like it's super fun to go to like a Legion.
Hang on. Like, you've never played bingo in your life?
No, but I've never played like an actual, like I've played bingo, like, fun bingo games and stuff like that. But like I'm talking
You never
about, like,
gone to the casino and played bingo, or like
You've
like
never
a
gone.
hall and played bingo?
Yeah, how about
Who
like
played at the
back
beach?
in
What
the
are you
day
talking
at
about?
Winnipeg Beach, where you'd be out at the beach for a buddy's cottage or something, and you're looking for something to do, and you go to the bingo hall and you're having a good time. But all
nope.
the bingo regulars who are chain
Yeah, I like
smoking,
the
because
people
this
who
is
get
back
mad.
in the day,
Yeah, they get mad.
you could chain smoke all you wanted, and they're just getting absolutely furious with you because you're not adhering to bingo hall etiquette. On the shores of Lake
I
Winnipeg.
think we need to do a field trip, boys. Little IC goes and does some bingo in rural Manitoba. I think that could be something. We could bring some cameras with us, and we'd probably get a few people watching.
First of all, Drew,
I
just
can't
so that for the record, let's get this back on track. Come on, boys. But the fact is that was his first goal in 87 games, just a second, of course, with the Winnipeg Jets. So I mean, look, who doesn't want to hear a little Montel Jordan? Because that's what
Exactly.
everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know what Dylan Demello's song was going to be. A little, this is how we do it by Montel Jordan.
Naomi
So,
actually wanted to walk out to that for our wedding, and she wanted to do like a choreographed like dance thing. And I was like, I can't do this. It was way too complicated. Like, as soon as you have like multiple steps and everything like that, but it is a fantastic song. But getting
that's
into
better than the alternative, which I would have thought would have her been wanting to walk out on your wedding, because that's what that's where my money was going to go, is that she was just going to run away.
I teed you up.
Complete opposite
You got me there. Yeah, that was good. I'll give you that one. I have no retort for that, no rebuttal, Drew, for that one. But Demello was great tonight, and I don't know if anybody else kind of caught on to this, but like, to me, it was funny that both guys. Demello has shaved his mustache, but Forsberg has a beauty. Forsberg's mustache has got to be top 3. Anyways, we're not here to analyze mustaches, even though I got a haircut and a beard trim. Nobody seemed to notice, but that's fine.
You're wearing a hat.
Shout out to Modern Man. Sorry?
You're wearing a hat. How could we notice that if you got a haircut? You're wearing a hat.
The beard. I mean, the beard has been trimmed. So I always notice, Drew, when you get your couple hairs that you have on your head cut. So, but yeah, I mean, this was a nice goal, as you mentioned. Nobody thought that, Demello was going to factor into the scoring, and in addition to the goal, I mean, he was really good tonight defensively, right? As were the other 4 defensemen with Nate Schmidt out of the lineup. So, sorry, the fact that there's an Eric Horlifson, you guys know my childhood friend Eric Horlifson, who went to Kelvin with me. This is not the same Eric Horlifson, because he spells his name with a C, as opposed to my buddy who lives in Toronto. One of the best 9-ball players in the world, by the way. That threw me off completely, that there's this like bizarro Eric Horlifson, but thanks for listening. And thank you for noticing. But Dave, you you take over the analysis of the Demello goal, because it was a nice goal, and he was really good tonight. He had another scoring chance later in the game as well.
Remember when you said you could be the muter, or the mic cutter, or whatever you referenced yourself, Dave? This might be one of those opportunities.
Well, I mean, I'm a little surprised. I didn't know that throwing that name up would send Ezzy off on a tangent, but I agree with his assessment for the non-Eric assessment, because the truth is that I thought Demello was excellent tonight. I thought he really was. The goal aside, I thought he was. I mean, I joke saying, there can never be too much Montel Jordan. I mean, it's just because he did almost score a number of other times, and he was just part of it. And again, like I said, that team, it was a team effort, right? Like, every defenseman, I thought, had a big piece of that game. Josh Morrissey, of course, as per usual, Neil Pionk, Brendan Dillon. I thought everybody, looked good in their roles today. So, but Dylan Demello was a guy for me who was very noticeable throughout the course of this hockey game for Winnipeg. And I thought there were a number of instances where you said, oh, well, Dylan Demello. I mean, again, we talk about Dylan Demello, but Dylan Demello is often, and everybody in the chat knows this, but I'm just going to reiterate it. But Dylan Demello is often the guy who does the things you don't talk about, and he just doesn't get noticed. And today I thought he did a lot of things that got noticed that were good things for this hockey game. So, I think he deserves a lot of kudos for Dylan Demello. And like I said, first goal in 87 games for the Winnipeg Jets. Just a second in a Jets jersey, but he looked good. And you need guys to step up. And we talk about guys who relish the opportunity to get more minutes. And Dylan Demello looked like one of those guys who was relishing that opportunity.
Well, I'll tell you
we
what,
just
I don't know.
Sorry, Drew. Just wanted to say quickly here, because obviously I didn't provide any insider context at all before Dave was speaking there. But I love the puck movement on 4-on-4, and we see it on 3-on-3 overtime, or when there's 4-on-4, during regulation. But I mean, Connor had a scoring chance before that. Wasn't a great scoring chance.
Didn't he hit the post?
Was it right on that? Was it that shift, or was it a shift before? I forget, Dave, but I think it was. I think
he had
you're
a
right.
lot of shots in tonight's game. He had 11 shots in the game tonight.
Crazy.
So, the one that hit the post didn't actually count as a shot on goal, but you can understand why they're maybe blending together a little bit.
What's crazier, that he had 11 shots tonight, or that Connor's had 10 shots, 3 on 2 separate occasions? So this is his third time, I think, right, Dave? I think they said that on the broadcast, so it's not surprising.
Hold on, Ezzy, we got to be careful with what they said on the broadcast. They also said that Nick Petan, Patrice Cormier were playing. They also said Trevor Lewis. They also said Nashville hasn't played
Mark
a team.
Stewart.
They also said Nashville hadn't played a team in the Central, and we're like,
what are you guys talking about?
Did you not?
On the broadcast, I didn't see this, but someone tweeted it, and basically what they did is they did like a, the lineup, and in the lineup, as they said, like Nick Petan, Patrice Cormier, they had like all these
Adam
old
Party.
Jets. Yeah,
Adam
Helmet Party. So they made a few mistakes. They also said, like I said, that Nashville hadn't played another Central Division team, and for a minute there, you're kind of like, wait, that kind of. Maybe, no. But then I'm like, no, it makes absolutely no sense. How is that possible? Like almost 30 games into the season.
But you know what, Dave? I can even understand that. That's just misspeaking. That one I can understand. I honestly would love a behind the scenes report, but as to how it gets put up on the screen, because it's got to get typed into a computer and then put up on the broadcast screen.
When it comes from Toronto,
how it gets put up there, that the Jets forward line. Hang on, I got it right here. Let me pull it up just so in case anybody missed it. It's absolutely one of the most bizarre parts of today's game. The Jets forward lines, today during the broadcast today were Perfetti, Scheifele, and Wheeler. Fine. Connor Dubois and Trevor Lewis, Morgan Barron, Adam Lowry, and Drew Stafford. And Nick Petan, Patrice Cormier, and Sam Gagner. Morrissey and Adam Party were the defensemen. Mark Stewart and Paul Postma. Dylan Sandberg and Nathan Beaulieu. I mean,
Beaulieu played last year, but like
no.
The weirdest part is that they had current Jets. Like they had some of them right. Drew Stafford hasn't played on the Jets in like 5 years.
Ezzy, I got to give that. I almost want to.
Same thing with Party. Like Drew, is this a Newfoundland Growlers game?
It's almost so bad that you have to respect it. I actually do respect it. I do. I actually do respect how brutally terrible that is, that you wouldn't know, this team so little. Like that I know offense. How complicated is your job? You're literally putting in names into a computer.
No, there has to be like a glitch or something technically.
It had to be a glitch. It's not somebody didn't know. They just like they pulled in the wrong file from somewhere.
And how do you do that?
Somebody needs to go back to copy and paste school.
How does it cross pollinate like that? You get like that. Those are lineups from like 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 years ago. It's pretty brilliant. So I'm not gonna hate on it. I kind of love it because it's just so brilliantly bad.
It was actually remarkable. I loved it as well. And
Drew Stafford's last season, sorry, Drew, was 2016-17.
I'd listen to an explanation on that one.
But that's 6 years ago.
Patrice Cormier just flew back from the KHL. He's like, chance for the NHL? Let's go. Bring it back.
One last thing on the Demello goal. Dylan Demello led all Jets defensemen in shots on goal in tonight's game, which is hard to believe because I wonder when the last time that happened. One of the intrepid chatters can go do some in-depth research to find out when Dylan Demello last led the Winnipeg Jets, if ever, for shots on goal in a game by a defenseman. He had 3. Pionk had 2. Brendan Dillon had 2. Dylan Sandberg had 1. Nate Schmidt obviously left the game very early. He didn't have any. And Josh Morrissey, this is even hard to believe, he had only 1 shot on goal as well. So Dylan Demello led all Jets.
And that was in overtime.
Shots on goal. And what's that?
That was overtime.
Yeah, and then the overtime breakaway. Right, exactly right.
Drew, there was one that kind of snuck. I think it might have hit Kevin Gravel's skate. Remember that one, Dave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was that one, but he didn't get credit for the shot.
And the only thing I wanted to mention, and I saw it in the chat, and I agree, was I actually thought Pierre-Luc Dubois at the end of the first, like I jokingly said, he's trying to drag the Jets into the fight, and then I said literally as well because he was doing it, and I actually thought he was. I actually thought the Jets, despite the fact that they had possession, I didn't think they were going to those dirty areas, and I thought except for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And I thought he was really trying to drag this team along, and he was physical, and he was doing things that really got them going. And the scrums after, and the anger, and when he was going
not a good penalty though in the third period, Dave. That
I agree. The Wheeler and Dubois taking that is silly. It makes no sense. First of all, you even just 1 for 1 is a bad trade, but to lose 2 for 1 in a 1-all game is in the third period dumb. doesn't make a lot of sense.
But he was a beast tonight. He was really good.
No, he was, and even at the Jets bench, dragging a guy into getting into it there. So I just thought he physically kind of pulled the team along with him and kind of got them energized when they needed it. And I thought that he provided a big lift for this club.
What did you guys think about the Adam Lowry fight with Tanner Jeannot after the hit on Nate Schmidt? I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought, they whistle blew, and they dropped the puck, and they decided to tee off. I think both guys did what they wanted to do for their team. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I don't think it has a major impact on the game or anything.
Crowd liked it.
The crowd liked it. I mean, I thought it was
I can tell you that much.
A perfectly, at least in this case, it wasn't like it wasn't an immediate, it wasn't a clean hit and then a guy immediately jumps the other guy. It was, enough time had gone by. They probably looked up at the replay. Lowry didn't like the hit, so he says to Jeannot, "You're going to have to pay for it." Both guys do their business, and I thought it was perfectly reasonable from both sides.
That's not a stage goon garbage fight, right? Like this is a fight that is the result of, like you said, the hit on Schmidt. He has to leave the game. Two big boys, two guys that have fought. Jeannot hasn't played as many NHL. He's not even close to Adam Lowry, so he has nowhere near as many fights. But I imagine, he's had some fights in the minors, right? In addition to the few in the NHL, right? So yeah, nothing wrong with that. And those are the guys. Stanley's out of the lineup. He's a guy that can drop the gloves, but it's really Lowry and Dillon. Those are the guys that are going to drop the gloves, unless Nick Ehlers is in the lineup. Then he's obviously going to be the enforcer.
A few weeks away, back on the ice yesterday. Jets controlled a lot of the second. They controlled the second period. They controlled the third period. Second period shots on goal were 19-8, and I know shots on goal aren't always emblematic of the pace of play, but in the second period, it was this time very much so. Third period, I thought the Jets certainly had the better of the scoring opportunities. Connor Hellebuyck made the saves that he needed to make. Especially the one in tight on Cody Glass. That one comes to mind. That's probably his best save of the game. He's sort of
there was also that stretch at the where he had to stretch across with the back of it with his left leg to make sure that the puck wouldn't be slid past him. So he made a couple nice stops.
Yeah, exactly right. He made the saves he needed to make. He looked comfortable after he gave up what I didn't love on that first goal. We already hashed that over.
No, and sometimes, just was going to say, Drew, sometimes, especially when you're getting outshot that badly in the second period, sometimes you get a little bit nervous, right? Like you're like, okay, because the Jets have done that. Which game was it that I'm thinking that the Jets were getting badly outshot and then Dubois went back up the ice and scored? Now all the games are blending into each other. It wasn't a recent game, but it was within the last couple of weeks. And that's the thing, right? Like UC Saros did to the Jets what Hellebuyck does to almost every other team that he plays, right? So you're right. The first goal on Hellebuyck was not great, but he was good for the rest of the game. And, this was overall, you're not going to give this game an A+, but you'll probably give it an A. The Jets were, for the most part, in control of the game, and there were only a few minor hiccups, and they got the job done in overtime.
They did. Quick line juggle that happened later in the game. Michael Eyssimont got moved down to the fourth line. Sam Gagner took his spot up in the first line. I thought Gagner had a little extra pep in his step tonight. I thought he played one of his better games in the last couple of weeks, and Eyssimont really wasn't very noticeable. He wasn't his usual sort of energizer bunny tonight.
I wonder if he's got the illness too, though.
That's
Drew.
what I was going to say. I wonder
what
if
did he play. I don't think
illness.
he played more than like 7 or 8 minutes in this game, right?
I can tell you exactly what he played. Eyssimont played 7:46.
Not bad.
Lowest of all. Bad at all. Lowest of all the Jets forwards. The only one who played less is Nate Schmidt, but of course he was injured. So Eyssimont, I didn't think he had much in his game tonight. So maybe did that have something to do with the illness? We don't know, but I thought Sam Gagner definitely played a good game. I thought for the Jets, one of his better games. Had a couple of opportunities, was shooting the puck on UC Saros a couple different times. I thought he was noticeable, which is what the Jets want to see out of him, because I thought he was maybe playing his way out of the lineup as of late, but this was a much better game from Sam Gagner. No scoring in the second period, no scoring in the third period, despite the plethora of chances. And then it takes to overtime after Josh Morrissey comes in on a breakaway from basically the top of his own face-off circle. That's how far the breakaway was, and somehow UC Saros makes another amazing save, and we've seen Morrissey score on that in overtime already twice this year. But Saros is able to get enough of it to deflect it off his glove, off the crossbar, and over the glass. The Jets do stay with it, and it's sort of ironic, sort of funny that it wasn't the best shot of the game. It was probably a bit of a weak goal even. Kyle Connor's goal squeaks through UC Saros and just trickles over the line to give the Jets the 2-1 win in overtime, Ezzy.
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking about in the chat are talking about Lowry's game. I agree. Like, and you know what? For those people that, didn't think, he was that good, maybe they weren't watching the same game that I was watching, but, Lowry's not only good, defensively, face-off circle. I don't know how good he was tonight in the face-off circle. It might not have been one of his best games, but, in the third period, he was driving. And that's the thing. Like, Dave talked about this on the Saturday show, and I agree with Dave. His numbers are much like he's on pace for a career year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. And that's been the criticism on Lowry. I thought he had more of that kind of offense mentality tonight, in addition to taking care of his defensive responsibilities. But yeah, it's just a good drive from him. Moves the D back a little bit. And like you said, Drew, it wasn't Connor's best shot. We know he can rip it with the best of them. But just got enough. And it was almost like the hockey gods were on his side. They're like, okay, this is your 11th shot. I think, we'll let you this one go in. And you kind of felt bad for Saros. Like in any game like that, you kind of feel like, the team should score, to get him the win when he plays that well. I forget how many saves he ended up with. I think over 40 saves, right? So
39 saves, 39 saves on 41 shots, which is a very good save percentage. Without quickly being able to do the math, it's a pretty damn good save percentage.
He's the only reason that game went to overtime, right? Like that could have easily been over. It could have been 3 or 4 goals in regulation. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like your point, Ezzy, there about Adam Lowry and how he. I mean, wasn't only in overtime. It's been mostly all season long. He's been more impactful in the offensive zone, and that line, that Barron, Harkins, Lowry line, has been a line that has been cycling teams to death. Very much. They've been winning battles below the opposition goal line, and that's a tough physical line to play against. And they were tough physical line to play against when they had Saku Manalainen up with them. And you saw tonight just a number of different opportunities. They might not necessarily gain the zone with possession, but they're more of a dump and chase line. But if they're dumping and chasing as effectively as they've been as of late, and the Jets are winning possession behind the net, Dave, the Jets are certainly happy with that development.
Sorry, I'm watching the end of the Moose game with 1 second to go. Calgary wins it 3-2. Sorry. All right. So the Moose.
That was very
anticlimactic. Yeah.
Well, I was watching the end of it.
Not climatic. Sorry.
Climatic.
Yeah, did Calgary score with 1 second to go?
No. They held on to win.
Oh, okay. I thought Calgary just scored with 1 second to go to win.
No.
Okay.
I'm not a play-by-play boys. I do color. That's about it. But anywho.
Dave's Manuk Moose second.
I will say, though, that Tico Napoli's not happy, although he will be happy with who scored a goal for the Manitoba Moose. We'll get into that after. But the other thing is, look,
I guess
as he just talked, as he touched, not I guess we will. So as he touched on it, I mean, the fact is Adam Lowry is doing what we've long said Adam Lowry needed to do in order for this team to really elevate, was to be able to produce like a true third line center. Well, he's doing that. He's on pace. Today, that was his 100th career assist in the NHL. And he's on pace to smash his career high for points, goals, points, maybe not assists, but goals and points for sure. And he's doing exactly what you need, right? He's excellent on the penalty kill. He's been a leader. He's the guy who goes out and answers the bell for Nate Schmidt. I mean, and he's, one of the biggest, strongest guys on the team. So that's not a huge surprise. It's not Josh Morrissey going on and taking Tanner Jeannot, but I mean, look, Adam Lowry has become a leader of this team, and we know that. And he's been a leader for a number of years, but he's stepped into an even bigger role on the Jets in that regard. And yeah, I mean, look, it was an interesting overtime, right? You got Cole Perfetti getting some 3-on-3 time, which we haven't really seen, and so that's good for his confidence. And he too I thought was good in throughout the whole course of this hockey game. And again, a little differential in terms of choosing to make that one extra pass versus sometimes taking a shot. But he had a couple of times where he took pretty good shots, and again, Saros was in the zone, so you got to credit what he was able to do against the Winnipeg Jets in the way he did it. But like I said, I liked what we saw from Adam Lowry, and I thought it was poetic that Kyle Connor on his the career high for shots, ends up getting the game winner. And the Jets, what did we talk about in the beginning of the show, guys, is we're able to do what they needed to do, which was stop the bleeding and their losing streak at 2 games and get back to good feeling. And now they can head to Vancouver and Seattle and feel good about their game, even if the team might need some IVs and aren't feeling 100% off the ice.
Just quickly, Lowry had 21 points in 17 games. This year he's already got, I don't know if this is updated, but 19 points in 29 games. So he's 2 off of last year's, and it's not even halfway through the season. So further to Dave's point, I mean, I think it needs to be talked about, in addition to how well Hellebuck's played this year and how good Morrissey has been and how good Dubois has been and Scheifele. There's no shortage of guys that are having great seasons, but Lowry's not going to score 30 goals and 70 points this year, guys. But, he's well on pace for a, 40 to 45 point season. And for him, that's a big step up from previous years.
Yeah, I agreed wholeheartedly. Josh Morrissey, of course, 2 assists tonight because, it's basically a game that Jets play.
Oh, they added one. They must have added one then.
He got an assist on the Demello goal, and then he got an assist on the overtime winner as well.
Yeah, I knew he had an assist on the Demello goal, but he didn't originally. They only had it to Connor from Lowry.
Connor from Lowry and Josh Morrissey at 3:31 of overtime sends the fans home happy, giving the Jets a 2-1 victory tonight in downtown Winnipeg, improving the Jets to 11-5 at home, and if my notes are correct, 19-9-1 the regular season as the team heads out to the Pacific Northwest for games Saturday night in Vancouver and Sunday night in Seattle. Let's go through what Saturday's in store for you. Saturday, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m. The Illegal Curve post-game show right around 11:45 p.m. just as Saturday turns into Sunday, and then Sunday evening 9:45 p.m. with the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Please, you missed something very critical. 2 p.m.
What is that?
Canada Life, Manitoba Moose, Belleville Senators.
I'm just talking about our next broadcast.
I understand, but people are going to have a busy Saturday because hold on before you cut me off. I've got 4 tickets in the Illegal Curve Zone. I've actually got 8 tickets this weekend, but 4 tickets to give away on Saturday. So folks, if you want tickets, I'll come back. We'll come back and talk about it. But
holler at your boy.
Exactly.
There you go.
You got
something
premium
to talk
seats.
about.
Illegal Curve Zone.
We'll talk about the Moose tickets. We'll talk about the merchandise contest, the unique code word of the day, and the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment as he's going to look for that during the commercial break. Much more to come. It's a Thursday night. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. The Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 37, we're back. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manuka, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a fine Thursday night. Has it stopped snowing? I haven't looked outside. What's the shoveling situation for you boys? Is that, first of all, are either of you coming to shovel my walk? If you are, that would be wonderful. Has it stopped snowing so I can pretend I need to go back out there and do it and do an admirable job, or can I still procrastinate on it for a little bit longer?
Well, Drew, I've been broadcasting from my basement here for the last 57 minutes, so I have no idea if it's snowing, but it's Winnipeg in December. I mean, who cares if it is snowing? Get out there, get the shovel out, and do what you need to do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you do need to do it eventually, but I've been trying to delay it a little bit longer. But alas, I will eventually suck it up and get out there. It
can't be as bad as last year, right? Like, there's no possible.
There was nowhere else to put the snow last year.
Last year was insane.
Yeah, last year was
like
insane.
It's going to be a regular Winnipeg winter.
Yeah, it will be a regular Winnipeg winter indeed. The Jets won victors over the Nashville Predators, another division win, which is we're making hay this year, Dave. When it comes to the in-division games, that's really where they, you win division in this NHL, you're going to be in a very good position come off time because you play so many games within the division.
Sorry, Drew, you're a little wonkified. I think whatever you do, whatever your internet situation is doing, it's needs to step up its game. Just gonna put that out there, Mr. Wired Internet. Unlike Ezzy and I, who are wireless, we're wireless free. We've cut the wires, and yet Drew always maligns us. We're good. We're nice and crisp and clear. Come up here, Drew. Come up where the air is.
This 56K modem has never worked better.
Anyways, what are the Jets? I mean, we talked about it before. The Jets record, against the Central has been fantastic, and that's what you need to
11-2, right, Dave?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we've talked about that through quite a bit, and it's unfortunate for Nashville. This was the first game against the Central Division, so they've got a ways to go in terms of playing.
I think what they meant to say was this was the first game between the Jets and the Predators.
Yes, that probably makes a little more sense, but regardless, because
Drew Stafford was great tonight, guys.
He was not as good as Nick Patan, but anyways, point is, the winning against the Central is massive, and we've talked about it. These are the games that you're gonna want to come out on top on, and now of course the Jets are gonna want. I don't know when the next time they play Minnesota is, but they're gonna definitely want to pay back Minnesota a little bit for the game in St. Paul. But they've done well. They've done well against Dallas and Colorado and the teams that they need to beat in Nashville now and Arizona. So they've been able to do what they need to do against their rivals, and that's huge for this Winnipeg Jets team.
Just want to mention a couple quotes from Rick Bowness regarding Adam Lowry tonight. Quote, incredible leadership by Adam. What he did, you have to do that, especially in our rink. Speaking of the fight with Tanner Jeannot, he's a great teammate. Like we always say, they take a run at one of us. They take a run at all of us, and we're all going to respond. Adam was the guy who responded. Continuing on, Rick Bowness, Adam was outstanding tonight with and without the puck. The penalty kill, he did a great job with the power play on that unit when he got out there, and clearly he helped on the overtime goal, which he deserved an assist on that. That's courtesy of Murat Atesh of The Athletic. That's Rick Bowness talking about Adam Lowry, and Lowry was in the proverbial beast mode tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. Certainly one of the key contributors to make the Jets 2-1 victors over the Nashville Predators. Ezzy, tough duck, hardest hitting comment. You got one for me?
Absolutely. I just wanted to also throw in about Lowry. Like I could talk for a long time about how well he's playing. 6 minutes and 34 seconds, boys, on special teams. Right? Like, so he really is doing it all, right? Like, he's out there on the PK, he's out there on the power play. As Dave mentioned, you don't necessarily expect Cole Perfetti to be out there. You don't necessarily expect Adam Lowry to be out there. But this year, we saw that when Mason Appleton was in the lineup, they were starting overtime. So again, I mean, Lowry's been doing great things in Winnipeg for a long time now, but I think this is probably the best he's ever played, at least as far as I'm concerned. He's elevated his game. He's been a big reason why the Jets are first in the Central right now. We're going to give it to Rob Mahoney. Rob is a loyal IC viewer. We see him almost every game that I'm participating in on the post-game show. So we're going to give it to Rob. Dubois has to have the most abrasive playing style in the league. Can't wait until playoffs when opponents start losing their minds like Austin Matthews. Love that comment. And we talked about it. Like, you don't love the roughing penalty that Dubois took in the third period. Doesn't matter because the Jets won. But, Dubois was absolutely a catalyst for the Jets. He was a beast. He's been a beast for them all season long. He's doing a great job. So love that comment from Rob. Send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com. Slide into my DMs at ICSEG, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you directly. So congrats, Rob.
Wait, now Rob has to now. And now everybody's saying Rob is a great person, because Rob usually, after someone wins, says they're a great person. And now everybody is saying, I see Eric is saying Rob is a great person.
I thought Rob won last year. I thought he was a Tough Duck winner, but regardless, I mean, we can have multiple winners.
Yeah. We got multiple shows. We got multiple winners. We got multiple prizes. We got just multitudes of fun here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. David, you got a unique code word for tonight. It has, of course, something to do with the great city of Nashville, Tennessee. Given that I thought that's who the Jets' opponent was.
And I thought, Drew, it was going to be a good one. I thought, no one was going to guess this. I thought there's no chance, I went with I'm going to be even harder on the next one. And I got a lot of history in Vancouver. So I'll be able to pick one that's a little bit more
Grand Ole Opry.
Ezzy. But the reality was, no, it was a place I went to when we were in Nashville. When I was I think off by myself. I went for a walk because I was like, I've been to the one in Athens, Greece, # no big deal, but I'd never been to the one in Nashville, Tennessee. I didn't even know there was one in Nashville, Tennessee
on the Vandy campus.
On the Vanderbilt campus.
That's right. We went for a little walk. I think we ended up, didn't we go get some like donuts or something?
Well, we went as you and I went lots of places. We did get Dunkin' Donuts.
We went to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
we did go to Dunkin' Donuts because I remember the woman. I can't believe I remember this. Well, I guess when it's involving food, I remember every meal I've ever had. But 3 years ago, we were on Richie's bachelor party, and I'm pretty sure they gave us some day olds for free, and it was like I had won the lottery.
It was the end of the day, and you can just imagine, folks, as he's walking around Nashville with a giant box.
Oh, and I was schwitzing too, so I had a little sweat going. I was hungry.
He was hungry. He was eating donuts. Although Dunkin' Donuts, fantastic, very similar to Robin's Donuts here.
Better than Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah, no question. Dunkin' Donuts are the way to go. Similar to Robin's Donuts every day of the week. But so I was thinking, well, I'll go for something Nashvilleian. Let's go for the Parthenon. Do you think anybody had a chance? And then Alan and Frosty both catcalling me on Twitter earlier this afternoon saying, is it this? Is it this? And then I didn't believe them. I actually went and checked, and sure enough, they had both guessed it. So I'm going to have to, I thought that was a little bit out there, but I'm going to go a little harder for the Vancouver one on Saturday, folks. So just be aware, enter this. You're going to have till Saturday afternoon, and then I'm switching it up and doing something even more difficult. Just so you know.
You know what you're going to have to do? If there's a great article was written about it. There were some people who had watched and taped like a year's worth of Price is Right episodes. And they
Okay.
realized that the Price is Right, never really changed some of their prizes, so that the prizes would almost repeat each other, in a pattern. And so that when they finally got to be a contestant in the Price is Right, they knew the prices of each of the prizes that they were competing for.
Well done.
And so well done by those lunatics. Yes, well done by those people with way too much time on their hands. But what the Price is Right did from that point on, Dave, is they started changing the features on the different prizes. Like, let's say, it's a car, and the car, forever was $21,500, whatever the car was. Sometimes they would add like an extra floor mat, or they would add in like
rack and pinion steering
feature. Yeah, sure, as that if you want,
air conditioning,
whatever it would be, they would add something to it that would just slightly change the pricing so that nobody could do the same thing. That might be what you have to do with some of these unique.
I'm gonna have to do it because Alan and Frosty are too good and they're guessing it. But at the end of the day, someone did win, boys. We have to give away the contest, and it was Doug Thorsky. So Doug, congratulations, you are the winner. And I will be, like I said, I know Spencer's in the chat. He's mad because I haven't delivered it. Spencer, I got to get Ezra to be available so I can come deliver to you. And but don't worry, I've got a couple of deliveries going out tomorrow to Warren, Manitoba. We've got one going out to Warren. We've got Morden, of course, for Phyllis. So don't worry, there's gonna be some mailed and there's gonna be some delivered. So you'll be getting your jerseys or your hats or your t-shirts courtesy of Illegal Curve, and maybe a little FaceTime with Dave M and a little FaceTime with ICSZG.
There you guys go. Congratulations to all the winners. Some of our favorites here today: Doug Thorosky, winner of the merchandise contest, and of course Rob Mahoney, winner of the Tough Duck Toque. If you're
and Doug's in the chat.
Right, there you go, Doug.
Nice.
There you go. Mazel tov, Doug, and congratulations on your victory in tonight's merchandise contest. And as a reminder, folks, the merchandise contest is completely random. It's a completely random draw. It's not even us doing it. We use computer software where we just enter all the names.
Very sophisticated software made by Harvard IT.
All the entries
people.
that
Joe's
they
internet.
press the button and it spits out a name, and that's how we know. Yeah, my internet's broken again.
It beats the old system that we used to use, which was just put pieces of paper in a hat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyways, again, worth reminding folks, there's still a lot of you in the chat. First of all, smash that like button. Second of all, leave comments on the podcast. We appreciate that, or I specifically, because I'm always asking you to do it. Please do that. And remember, grand prize now is a pair of tickets to any NHL game that you want. So if you win in December, you get to pick a game in January. In January, you get to pick a game in February, but that's going to be our grand prize. And so remember, enter to win authentic Jets gear, but also to enter to win a grand prize, which is a pair of tickets for an NHL game of your choice the following month. So lots to win here on the Legal Curve Hockey Show, the Legal Curve post-game show. We just try and bring you guys as much joy in addition to our analysis.
There you go. The clock strikes 11 p.m., which means that we're all going to turn to pumpkins, but we'll be back Saturday morning with the Illegal
No, that's not true, but I am going to eat pumpkin pie.
Drew. Yeah, sorry. I just realized. Sorry. I tried to get away. I should have known better. Here
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
I don't think so. We are not going anywhere without a Minuk Moose Minute. Now, I'll be quick because, again, similar to Tuesday, I didn't really get a chance to obviously watch the game very in depth because, of course, I was trying to pay blinders on, pay attention. But some things that I will be remiss if I do not mention. Number one, Jeff Malott. We're not used to seeing this, but in the first period, drops the gloves and he gets into a tilt as usually he's using his hands for scoring. He used them to drop the gloves and get into it, into the rough stuff in the first period. The Wranglers and the Moose, I wasn't surprised based on the way the third period ended in the game on Tuesday, which the Moose won, but that continued into this game. And then, of course, we've got to mention Tyrell Bauer, the 2026 rounder of the Winnipeg Jets. He scores, and he's an Alberta product, so he had friends and family in attendance at the Saddle Dome in Calgary, and they got the chance to see him score his first goal as a pro. So that was exciting. And then, of course, I didn't see the rest, but as I detailed earlier, feels like a couple hours ago, the Moose ended up losing the game 3-2. So they go 2-2 on the road trip. And Ville missed his 4th straight game with illness. So we'll see how that impacts. We don't know, of course, with Nate Schmidt, whether Declan Chisholm or Leon Gawanke, they want to go right side guy. They'll go Leon, but of course he would have to clear waivers, or he wouldn't, of course, or he's already cleared waivers. But Leon Gawanke could be the right side guy. He's still waiting for his.
And as Drew mentioned, Capobianco.
Yeah, and Cabo Bianco being potentially dealing with the flu. We don't know what's going to happen there. And the other interesting thing to note is Simon Lundmark, the 2019 second rounder, he's played the last 3 games on the left side, of course, with Ville-Heinola out. So there's just some quick updates. Oh, and lastly, the 2022 first rounder, Brad Lambert, he didn't play tonight. Most likely he's off to the East Coast of Canada to get ready to play on the Finnish team, but I don't have confirmation on that. So once we get that confirmed that he's off to the Finland camp, I'll let people know, but that would be my presumption.
Chaz Lucius also made the American team, Dave, but I think he's still skating in a non-contact.
I would imagine, yeah, for sure. Because although I have to say it's funny, he said it was the game on November 26th where he got injured in Grand Rapids. I went back and I watched the third from when he set up the goal, and I didn't see him get hit. So I'm not certain. Maybe he got his games wrong, but yeah, clearly he's been dealing with something that was, Mark Morrison said was going to take him out for weeks. So he may not be ready to go right away, but he's obviously at their camp. I don't know where they're holding their camp, but he's there and ready to go for the Americans. And sounds like Brad Lambert is going to be there for the Finns.
Probably Buffalo. No Manitobans on the team, unfortunately, this year, but
a little disappointing.
Carson Lambos and Ty Brennan, but a couple Jets prospects.
Yeah, and Rutger McGroarty, of course, he'll take some time away.
More than a couple, I should say.
Yeah. And then I think, isn't there that Swedish defenseman, as he what's his name? There's a Swedish
Torgerson.
No. Torgerson's.
I honestly,
it's
too late for me to remember.
Salmonson.
Elias.
Yeah, there we go. I think he's there as well. So maybe he might be injured. I can't remember 100%. I can't keep it all straight, folks. There's only so much we can keep in our brains. T. Conapauli's got
true.
it.
I feel like we're going to need a little World Junior update on the website because you don't have enough to do, Dave.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Anyway,
exactly.
Julian's. So I was right. Julian's right. It's saying confirming what I thought was that he is injured. So, all right, Doug, you're going to get your stuff, guys. Great show. I'm not going to steal Drew's thunder. I've already cut Drew off enough tonight.
That's okay. My internet's probably going to wonk out anyway. So, and then you'll be forced to carry me even further. But assuming my internet doesn't screw up on me, we say thank you to everybody for joining us this evening.
You got to stop using AOL, Drew. That's your problem.
I know. I thought those CD-ROM discs are glitching out on me. Who would have thunk it? Big thanks to everybody for joining us. As I mentioned, we'll be back Saturday morning with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Saturday night around midnight, just before that, with the Illegal Curve post-game show, and then again Sunday night with the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Seattle Kraken. Before we go, a big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Frosty Winnipeg has them up on the screen there. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, they're the official title sponsor of this here post-game show. Tough Duck, we gave Rob Mahoney a toque, courtesy of our friends at Tough Duck for his hardest-hitting comment. Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rollies Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Big thanks to all of you. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and again on Saturday mornings, is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Saturday at 9 a.m., we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.